construction vernaculars or the English Tagalog translation of every construction term. So the reason why I ask you to search for that is because those are the common words or used in construction. So para when you deal with it later, probably when you are taking up your if you are working na. So you would know somehow the jargons or the terms that are being used by the construction industry. Lalo na as we all know that most of our workmates sa constructions, of course, are skilled workers. So hindi sila mga nakapagtapos or hindi sila actually talaga nakapag-aral at all. So those terminologies, yun yung mga natutunan nila along the way. So as civil engineers or you as an soon na magiging civil engineer, so you should also know that para you are in the same page whenever you are talking to your skilled workers. So yan, ito yung mga examples natin. Siguro, yeah, as I said a while ago, even though that I already asked you to submit it, siguro on your own, ano na lang, on your own notes, please make sure that all of these terminologies na ipinasa nyo is alam nyo kung ano yung description or kung ano yung exact definition of those terms. Para, yun, hindi ko na siya iisa-isahin at straightforward naman what are the terminologies are all about. Like for example, pag sinabi mong poste, so yan yung column or yung vertical support of a structure. Or let's say yung hamba, yung side of the window or door opening. So yan yung pinagkakabitan ng hinge or yung bisagra. So yun. So just add na lang doon sa notes nyo whatever terminologies and description na nakita nyo. Okay, and then another thing, I think this is seat work pala. And then yung another thing, the assignment, I ask you to research for the cement. So particularly, it's Portland cement. So I think I already discussed the exact ano to, file from the ASTM. So I ask you to check this ASTM C150. So basically, this is the standard specification of Portland cement. So bago natin puntahan yung topic kasi as I move along with the succeeding slides, so we will be talking about tungkol sa concrete. So part of the concrete material kasi is cement. So before I jump on that, so I just want to emphasize that this ASTM file, talks about the specification of every type of cement available under the Portland cement. Yan, yung type niya. So ito yung mga subtypes niya, and then what are their purpose. So later let's go back with this one. So let me introduce first yung topic natin. Then kapag nasa may cement part na tayo, babalikan ko tong mismong file na to. Okay? So our next topic would be module 1B, which is concrete. Okay? So under pa din tayo sa introduction of building construction. So for its introduction, concrete is an artificial composite material comprising a matrix of cementitious binder. Okay? So that is typically Portland cement paste or asphalt. Pero in our case, it's Portland cement. Yan yung common na ginagamit natin to bind all the materials added sa concrete. So yan yung cementitious binder natin. So, and it also this first phase or filler of aggregate. Okay, so we have aggregates and then loose stones or sand. And then the binder glues the filler together to form a synthetic conglomerate. Or in other words, as we bind concrete and then the aggregate, which is the stones and sands, and then later we mix that with water, so it will form a synthetic conglomerate, or it will form the the composition of concrete. So class, take note for the for the for the parang ingredients for us to create concrete. So yung four basic na kakailanganin natin will be cement, aggregates, which is yung stones and sand, or ang term talaga natin dyan is sand and gravel. And the other appropriate terminology for sand and gravel. For sand, it is fine aggregate. And then on the other hand naman for gravel, it is coarse aggregate. Okay? And then, yeah, next naman natin is water. So para mabasa siya and then it will bind later on kapag hinalo na natin siya. Okay? So what are the learning objectives for this module? So first is enumerate the components of cementing material, understand and explain the qualities of a good concrete, enumerate the material composition of concrete, understand and explain the different standard testing used for concrete, explain the different ratio of concrete proportioning and where to use them. Then compute the concrete design mix and then differentiate the different curing period for the removal of forms, explain the different types of concrete admixtures, understand and explain the different types of forms used in concrete, and then lastly, explain the different types of metal reinforcement. So class, if ever na meron ditong hindi part no module, so I will discuss it na lang on a separate file kasi feeling ko meron dito hindi na isama. Plus take note that the file that I am presenting to you or the module that I'm presenting to you is the same module that came from the department. So yun, i-run through na lang natin just to make sure that everything will be under the learning objective, so will be discussed. Okay, so first for the cementing materials, so ito yung composition of the cementing materials or ng cement. So part 1 is lime and then gypsum. So ano ba yung lime? So manufactured building materials used a mortar and plaster by early civilization. So before yung lime, nagamit siya as mortar or plaster. So you may encounter yung terminology na mortar. So basically, yung mortar, that's only a combination of fine aggregates or sand, cement. So once na nagdagdag ka ng gravel, okay, so nagiging concrete na siya. Once na nagdagdag kayo ng tawag dito na rebar, so nagiging reinforced concrete naman na siya. Okay? So next, materials of the cementitious or the cementing cement is the gypsum. So gypsum rock is ground fine and heated. When it loses about 3 to 4 of its combined water. So inaalis natin yung water content on this one. So and then we process that. Now, yung cement, okay, in its own definition, so the Roman were the first to develop cement by mixing slick lime and pozzolana, which hardened under the water. And then next is an Englishman rediscovered hydraulic cement, an English bricklayer and mason invented and patented Portland cement today. The word cement generally refers to Portland cement, which is principal type of cement in use. So class, marami pa kasing types of cement. So hindi ko siya i-discuss for now. So like yung mga pozzolan, etc. So madami pa kasing types of cement. Pero ito kasi yung common or yung general na ginagamit talaga sa construction. Well, ginagamit din naman yung others, pero ito yung most yung yung commonly used. Ayun. So I think I already said this one. So the concrete is proportion of cement, aggregate, and water. Well, the aggregate is composed of fine and coarse. C-O-A-R-S-E. Hindi siya C-O-U ha. C-O-A, coarse. Ang ibig sabihin is malaki. As fine, pino. So hardening of concrete, it is called setting. So whenever we mix concrete and then whenever we we want the concrete to be in place. So kapag ka ibinuhos na natin siya, so pag sinabi natin na we need to make sure that the concrete settled or we need to make the concrete settle, so ibig sabihin nun, we need the concrete to harden. Okay, para tumigas. Okay, and then when cement is mixed with water, ito yung sinasabi natin kanina, and fine aggregate or less than 6 mm or 1/4 inch, it is known as mortar. Okay? Or cement plaster. So, basta buhangin tsaka ano lang siya, buhangin, cement at tubig. So, mortar yon. Kapag when large aggregate or the coarse aggregate is added sa cement, water, fine aggregate, so it will give us concrete. Ulitin ko ulit class para lang malinaw. Pag tatlo lang yung ingredients, cement, fine aggregates, or sand, and water, so that's mortar. Kapag dinagdagan mo siya ng mga bato-bato or ng coarse aggregate or ng gravel, so that is concrete. Okay. So concrete is strengthened by having steel embedded is called reinforced concrete. So as I've said, kapag dinagdagan mo pa ng another composition, yung bakal naman, so it is called reinforced concrete. So kapag wala siyang bakal, so plain concrete lang ang tawag natin doon or mass concrete. So take note, bakit ba natin dinadagdagan ng bakal? The reason why is that concrete is a material which is very good in compression. Okay? So meaning, kapag yung load is compressing the concrete, so nawi-withstand yun ng concrete. Now, since yung concrete is known for having a property which is good in compression, so may weakness siya. Mahina naman siya sa tension. Now, since concrete is weak in tension, and then we want that concrete to be also strong or good in tension para hindi lang compression, so we add steel or yung reinforcing bars natin. With that, once that a rebar is added, so ang tawag na sa kanya is reinforced concrete. So bakit rebar? Bakit rebar yung inilalagay natin considering that baka meron pang iba? So the reinforcing steel bars or yung steel or yung bakal natin na inilalagay is also known as good in tension. Okay? So since good siya sa tension, and then yung concrete is good sa tension, so magandang pagsamahin sila. And on the other hand, aside from it is also good in tension, yung steel naman is weak in compression. So in a way, yung weakness or yung lapses doon sa property ng steel with regards to compression, so it is being somewhat override or parang napupunan ng ating concrete with regards to compression. So si concrete bahala sa compression, si steel or si reinforcement bars yung bahala sa tension. Okay? So ang concept doon behind is that as we apply that concrete kasi, like for example, beam, okay, yung mga biga. So if there's a load, so the beam is subjected to bending moment or meron siyang flexural stress. So that stress kasi generates compression sa ibabaw, yung sa ibabaw na surface ng beam. Just imagine, sa drawing tayo. Para lang, hindi lang ako nagsasalita. For example, ito na yung beam. Kapag concrete yan, tapos nag-apply ka ng load, so unang mabibitak, just imagine kung parang walang bakal. Di ba ang unang mabibitak dyan sa ilalim? Para siya mababali. Okay? So ngayon, kung mayroon tayong bakal, let's say we will be applying a rebar, top and bottom bar, sabihin natin. Well, this one, yung proper location of this one will be discussed na sa RCD nyo. Okay? So now, if you apply that, okay, so yung possibility of magkaroon siya ng crack dito sa ilalim So, ma-eliminate mo kasi may bakal ka na. So, why is that so? Kasi, based sa cross-section ng ating concrete, ayan. So, normally, ito yung cross-section nito, pagka hinati ko sa gitna. Tapos, tapos nandito yung, ano natin, bakal na inilagay sa ibabaw at ilalim. Okay. So, plus take note, yung force dito, kapag walang bakal, tapos nag-apply ka ng force, yung ibabaw, subjected sa compression. Then yung ilalim, subjected sa tension. Kasi imagine niyo kapag subukan yung kumuha ano, kahit na anong material, sabi natin roller, kapag binend nyo siya ng binend, di ba yung ilalim, doon yung nakikita na parang naghihiwalay yung, 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 yung material nung ruler kasi doon siya unang magpe-fail, or for example yung meter stick, so doon siya magpe-fail. So in a way yung ilalim na portion niya maghihiwalay, so may tension. So take note, di ba, ang definition ng tension is force away from the body, so they are pulling away this portion. Okay, so kapag nag-apply ka ng load, so pag ganyan yung takbo niyan, so kaya siya nabibitak. Kapag may bakal, so hindi siya mabibitak. Now, if this occurs sa ilalim, sa ibabaw naman natin, take note, yung parang molecular property ng ating beam or ng ating material, nagko-compress naman sa ibabaw. Kaya that's the reason why nasa ibabaw yung compression at nasa ilalim yung tension. Okay, so again class, please take note of this one, not because this will be discussed sa inyo sa mga succeeding subjects, particularly sa RCD. So yun, that normally the tension occurs doon sa baba kung nasaan yung ating sa baba kung nasaan yung tension natin. Pero that will only happen kapag ang support mo nandito. Okay? Or meaning, kapag ang bending mo or ang expected bending mo is pa ganyan. Kapag ang expecting bending mo is pababa, yung ilalim na portion ng beam is nandun ang tension, sa compression, andun naman siya sa ibabaw. On the other hand naman, if your beam is cantilever or yung naka-overhang yung isang side, walang any support, isang side lang yung meron, for example, this one. So, ang expected bending natin is inverse or pabaliktad. Okay, ganyan siya. So, if that's the case, so yung tension naman natin dyan, okay, take note of this one yung tension naman natin dyan, lagyan natin yung bakal din, bakal. So yung tension natin dyan, of course naman sa itaas. Kasi doon naghihiwalay parang yung molecular property or parang yung molecules or particles nung beam. So dyan unang pwedeng mag-occur yung bitak sa ibabaw. Pero dahil may bakal, hindi siya magbibitak. Pero kahit na, doon nag-occur yung tension. On the other hand naman, dahil dito sa ilalim, diyan naman yung parang nandyan yung parang portion kung saan yung ating molecules or particles nung beam is compressing. So, diyan naman nag-a-apply yung compression. Yan. So, class, magkabaliktad lang siya. Pero normally, ganito, kasi ano yan ang bending natin palaging pababa. Ganito lang yung bending kapag naka-cantilever, which is hindi naman laging ginagamit. Well, ginagamit na siya most of the time, pero mas marami pa rin yung application ng nakaganito na meron kang two supports at both ends. O kahit naka-fixed support siya, tapos parang prop cantilever, ganun pa rin yan, ang deflection niya is ganyan. Okay? So anyway, going back. Yeah. So qualities of a good concrete. So concrete should be strong. Sabihin, matigas dapat yan. Hindi siya malleable or hindi siya malambot. Durable, ibig sabihin, matibay. Of uniform quality, meaning monolithic, or meaning yung quality sa isang portion ng beam, on the other hand, pareho. Kasi hindi siya dapat nagbabari yung quality. Kasi isang buhos lang naman yan So yun yung term mong ginamit is monolithic. Ibig sabihin, isang buhusan. Di ba merong mga structure na hindi nabubuhusan ng isang buhos, so hindi na siya nagiging monolithic. So naglalagay na tayo ng ano doon ng mga filler for that sa mga dugtungan. And then lastly is thoroughly sound. So another is good quality is obtained through. So paano ba natin nakukuha or paano ba natin nagagawang maganda yung kalidad ng concrete na binubuhos natin sa site? So una, careful selections of materials. So that's the reason why kanina or nung isang araw, binigyan ko kayo ng assignment, what are the types of cement? Kasi those types of cement, if you read, di ba? Or if kung di kayo nangopya at kayo talaga yung gumawa, mababasa nyo doon yung proper application of every type of cement. Okay? So puntahan muna natin yan. So those are, ayan. So type 1, so sabi dito, use for use when the special properties is specified for any other type are not required. And then yung isa is air and training cement. Puntahan na nga lang natin yung eksakto niyan. So, ay hindi naka sa terminologies lang. Okay. So, yun. And then, yung isa naman yung air and training cement for the same uses as type 1, where and train is desired. Pero most of the time, type 1 and type 1A, yan yung nabibili natin sa hardware. Ano ba yung mga types of cement natin dito? Eagle cement. Type 1. Yan. So makikita nyo naman to sa mga sa mga bag. Type 1 or type 1A. Ayan. Asan na yun? Yan. Ay, 1P pala to. 1P. So meron silang hinahalo. Pero basically, that's type 1. Okay? So ito yung common na ginagamit natin sa mga natin. Ano ba? May nakikita akong tatak na ganito eh. Boss Cement. Then yung iba yung Rizal. Ayan, Boss. Hindi ko lang alam sino may-ari nito. So, then meron tayong mga multiple or different or bags. And then, yun, balikan natin to. So, meron tayong type 2 for general use, more especially when moderate sulfate resistant or moderate heat of hydration is desired. So, ito yung mga, at least usage niya. If you're not familiar with this, as you go sa hardware, sa malalaking hardware to ha, commonly kasi sa mga local hardwares natin, type 1P lang ang meron doon. So, kunwari pumunta ka sa Wilcon na medyo may mga other choices, so pwede nyo tingnan doon kung anong klaseng cement pa yung mga available. Kasi meron tayong mga cement na merong mga additional admixture. Later, di-discuss natin yung admixture. So, para so mas mahal siya kasi meron siyang specific use. And then yon, meron din tayong type 2 which is the air and train naman, ang similar with type 2A, air and training. Yung may A is air and training. Ayan, para makita natin yung definition. So sabi dito, ayan siya, air entrainment in concrete is the intentional creation of tiny air bubbles in batch by adding an air entraining agent. So nagkaka-air yung mismong loob ng ating concrete. And then there's type 3 for high early strength is desired. Type 4 for the low hydration is desired. And then lastly, ito naman, type 5, high sulfate resistance desired. Tingnan natin cement, high sulfate resistance. Alam ko yung isa kasi dito is pwede sa tubig. Not sure if ito nga yun yung type 5 use. Ayan, ito. Yan. Yan. Ito nga yun, yung coastal. Ang alam ko type 5 yung pwede sa coastal structure. So if you're gonna use type 1 like yung ating commonly na mabibili sa hardware. So hindi siya appropriate for any ano to any coastal structure or marine structure. Kunwari maglalagay kayo ng mga tetra blocks, yung parang jackstone sa dagat. So ayan, tetrapods, ayan. So hindi pwede simpleng concrete lang yan kasi masisira kagad yan. And then yung mga pier, coastal, and trestles, ayan, ay hindi yan. Ito, kapag kagawa sa concrete, yung other trestle kasi gawa sa timber. Pero pag gawa sa concrete, so hindi siya po pwede. Ayan. Isa. Okay? So yun, so those are the types of the cement na in-assignment. Okay. So let's go back with the material. So next is correct proportioning. So whenever we do the mixing, hindi tayo basta-basta buhos lang ng buhos. Although sabi nila, the more cement, mas matibay. Kaya lang ang problema sa kapag naglalagay kayo ng more cement is that nagiging humihilab naman yung concrete. Or meaning, pag nasobrahan siya, kailangan mo dagdagan ng tubig. And then on the other hand, so dagdagan mo ng tubig. So hahabulin mo na hahabulin hanggang sa marami ka nang nailalagay na cement. So the reason why we do proportioning is that para maiwasan natin yung use of materials for a certain application. Kasi kung wala tayong susunding guidelines, it would be it would be very hard for us to come up with the tawag dito, the appropriate mix or appropriate design mix or appropriate proportioning, meaning yung mix na tipong ano ba yung mix na makakapag-provide sa akin ng kailangan ko pero sa murang halaga. Okay? Kasi kapag lagay ka lang lagay ng cement, so mako-compromise naman yung cost ng material. So kaya tayo nagpo-proportioning again kasi depende kung ano yung mismong paggagamitan natin. Okay? So later I will be discussing the proportioning of concrete. And then next ayun nga thorough mixing. So ano ba yung mga methods of mixing natin? So we use concrete mixer kapag kagaling sa batching plant. Class yung term na batching plant as in by batch. BATCH. So pag sinabi nating batching plant, so yung concrete nanggagaling siya sa batching plant. So the example or ang itsura ng batching plant, ayan. And then ilalagay sa concrete mixer. Is dadalhin sa site. Okay, class, as that concrete mixer travel, we normally add mixture. Mamaya i-discuss ko yung mga klase na add mixture. Okay? Pwedeng retarder or pwedeng accelerator. Okay, so yan. So yan yung way of mixing. Pwedeng haluin dito, tapos haluin na sa mixer. Or pwedeng pagdating sa site, tsaka tutubigan. So depende if wet mix or dry mix yung orderin natin. Okay? And then meron pa tayong ginagamit ng mga one bagger mixer. One bag mixer. Yan. Yan. Or yung iba naman, mano-mano, yung gagawa ng parang volcano, parang volcano, tutubigan. Yan. So yun yung mga methods natin. Pero dapat thorough lang yung halo. And then careful transporting and placing. So when we are transporting yung mga galing sa manual mix or sa one bagger mixer, we use timba, 'di ba? Tinitimba lang natin yan sa site. Pero when we are dealing with naman na ano to, yung concrete galing sa concrete mixer, so minsan timba din ko sa baba lang or binuboostan natin on the spot. Or kaya naman kapag ka sa matataas na elevation, um, kahit yung one bag mixer, pero hindi masyado eh. Kapag matataas kasi, we normally use yung Yung pump, ang term nila doon. Yan, concrete pumps. Ayan, pwede may ganyan. Or yung iba, ito, yung may ganitong machine, tapos may hose. Ayan siya. Bababa niya dito, may hose, papunta doon sa taas, kung gaano siya kataas. Yung iba, meron siyang mahabang, parang ganito. Kaya lang kasi limited yan eh. Limited yung height. Maliban na, pag ganito kasi, as long as na naglalagay ka ng hose at abot, so tuloy-tuloy lang yung pagbomba ng concrete. Huwag lang kakalimutan hugasan agad kasi pag tumigas yan, sumano-manong babasagin, babaklasin pa tong babaklasin pa tong pumpcrete na to. Okay, the next is yun, proper curing or protection of the concrete after place. So pag sinabi natin curing, yan yung pinapasettle na natin. So ang term for us na as we harden, then binabasa natin yung ating concrete kapag kabuhos. Mapapansin niyo yun kung sa mga nagpapagawa, binubuhusan siya ng tubig kasi we want the concrete to cure. Binubuhusan. Kasi take note, yung simento, di ba, pagka nahaluan ng tubig, umiinit. So portion of that water or moisture content is lost, nawawala din. Tapos may temperature pa tayo kapag maaraw, so natutuyo. So para maayos yung concrete natin. So we normally water the structure para tumigas siya ng husto. So whatever lost in the moisture, so it will be replaced. Then hindi niyo naman kailangan kabahan na teka baka masobrahan ng tubig. Okay lang 'yun. The more water, the merrier kasi kaibigan ng concrete ang tubig. As concrete as it hardens, mas tumitigas ang concrete lalo na kapag ka nababasa. Maliban na lang of course kapag basa pa yung mix mo. Pero normally we have that concrete or normally we have that mix tawag ito we have that mix added na na water kapag matigas na siya. And then not sure if you're done with the subject kung saan gagawa kayo ng concrete cylinder. Yung may cylinder tapos inilulubog sa tubig. So process kasi yon yung curing. Nilalagay nyo sa curing tank kasi kailangan siya nung concrete. Pero kailangan at least 24 hours tumigas muna yung concrete. It hardens outside and then tatanggalin sa molde. Ilalagay nyo sa curing tank. So same goes dito sa mga binuhos na nating concrete. So parang same lang din yung application wherein the concrete hardens. As the concrete hardens, so nagbabasa tayo ng tubig. Okay. So yan, for the materials of concrete, so ito yung unang cement, so nasabi na natin yan kanina. So test made, so ano yung mga test made na ginagawa natin sa concrete? Sa cement, so una yung soundness or constancy of volume. So yan, yan yung mga steps na gagawin nyo kapag nandun kayo pagka you're taking up yung construction methods nyo. Construction method hindi, construction materials pala. Kung yun yung pangalan ng subject nyo. And then time setting, fineness, and then tensile strength of sand mortar. Ganyan, aggregate. So I won't discuss this further kasi meron namang other subject na mag-discuss niya ng further. Pero fine aggregate, yan yung sand na ginagamit natin. Okay? Then lastly, we have the coarse aggregate, yung gravel. So yung size niya is from 1/4 to 1 inch. Depende kung ano yung nasa design mix nyo, yun yung gagamitin nyo. Okay? I think hindi lang ginagamit yung kasi laki ng mga nasa ballast or yung nasa tren, yung sa rails ng tren, yung mga ganong kalalaking bato kasi masyadong malaki yon para gamitin dyan. Probably I might be wrong, pero so far sa experience ko, yan lang yung ginagamit. Ang pinaka-common yung 3/4 na size ng gravel. Okay? So then lastly, yung water. So make sure that the water that you're using is oil and acid free or any vegetable matter. Kasi kapag nagkaroon niya ng mga organic oil tsaka mga acid, it may attack yung cement. So hindi natin mako-form yung desirable strength. And then it should be clean, clear and clean. 'Di ba yung iba gumagamit na lang ng basta na lang tubig. Pero dapat talaga doon malinis yung tubig natin. And then don't use brackish or seawater. So ang definition ng brackish ay that is where the yung pakita ko sa inyo. Kung saan nagmi-meet ang alam ko yan ata yung nagmi-meet brackish, kung saan nagmi-meet yung ilog at dagat. Ayan, slightly salty. Kasi yan yung kung saan nagmi-meet yung ilog tsaka yung dagat, yung fresh water or the salt water. So the reason why is that hindi pwedeng brackish kasi same din dito sa seawater kasi may salt content sila. So kailangan so hindi siya pwede. So yun, mako-compromise yung ating yung strength ng cement. Then water combines with the cement to form a paste which coats and surround the aggregates and na-discuss na natin. So ito sabi nila, the less water used in mixing, the better the quality of concrete. Kasi kapag sobrang daming tubig, malabnaw. Pero tingin ko ang pinaka-appropriate dito, well, kinapi ko lang ito, is that yung right amount of water. Kasi kapag sobrang less naman, so yung workability is hindi natin ma-achieve. Meaning, pag sinabi natin workability, kapag hinalo natin yung concrete, madali ba siyang i-apply? Medyo fluid ba siya? Medyo parang, yun nga, solid pero meron siyang fluid property. Kasi kapag kakulang sa tubig, so medyo matigas siya, parang solid, hindi siya masyadong fluid. Pag sobra naman sa tubig, sobrang fluid naman siya na parang liquid na siya. Okay, I think this should be the right amount of water that should be used in mixing. That will give us the better quality of concrete. Ayan, so for the water cement ratio, ayan, the amount of water used per bag of cement usually varies from 5 to 7 gallons, with 6.5 gallons average for ordinary job condition. The ideal mix is one that is plastic and workable. Okay, and then it should not be too dry that it becomes too difficult to place in form. So ito yung sinasabi ko, wag masyadong sobrang kulang sa tubig, sobrang less. Tapos not too wet that that's nagkakaroon ng separation sa ingredient. Pag sobrang sobrang wet, later on, yan yung mga makikita nyo, mga binuhusan na umiibabaw yung tubig. Tawag doon, bleeding. Nagbi-bleed yung concrete. Pag apply mo, tas parang umaangat yung tubig. So nagbi-bleed. So nagsisettle yung aggregate at saka cement, umiibabaw yung tubig. So naghihiwalay. So we don't want that to happen. So again, para maiwasan natin yun, the right amount of water is required. Ito, slump test. Pag sinabi natin slump test, this is one of the tests that we conduct sa site or sa actual application or during the application of the concrete para malaman natin kung madali bang i-apply. Kasi nga 'di ba sabi natin sa previous slide, too difficult to place in form. So yan yung magdi-dictate kung workable ba siya or too wet, kung saan nagsiseparate yung material. So ang gagawin natin, meron tayong slump cone. So every thirds of the slump cone, magtatamp tayo. Tamp meaning sasalaksakin natin ng rod. And then every 1/3 yan, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, sasalaksakin ng rod. Tapos pag umapaw, papantayin. Tapos unti-unti na, pero take note, habang ginagawa niyo, dapat tapakan niyo to. Kasi meron diyang parang tang or parang naka-usling bakal. Kasi pag di niyo hinawakan yan, aangat yung slump cone. Ang tawag natin dito is slump cone. So slump plus cone, C-O-N-E. Pag umangat yan, so uulitin mo ulit yung process. So kailangan tapakan. So pagka napatag mo na siya, pwede mo na siyang iangat and then you check the slump. Okay? By checking the slump, so there's a certain value for us to determine if the concrete is workable, or if the concrete is um, um, good in terms of its consistency. So yun. So tsaka mo siya pwedeng gamitin. Ngayon, pagka ganito yung slump, mababa siya na certain level. I forgot how deep is it. So yun, doon siya pwedeng maging, or that's the time na pwede natin siyang gamitin. Pag hindi siya bumaba, ibig sabihin kulang sa tubig. Pag nag-collapse siya, ibig sabihin hindi siya, ang ibig sabihin ito, sobra sa tubig. Kapag ganito naman, sabihin, either kulang sa tubig or hindi maayos yung pagkakasalaksak nyo or pagkaka-compact yung ating slump, ay nung ating concrete sa slump coat. Okay? Then, sorry. And then for proportioning of the concrete, so these are the proportions. So let's take note that the first number correspond with the sand, cement, sand, gravel. Okay? Ganyan yung proportionality niya. Yung tinuro sa akin dito sa actual is usually they form a 1 cubic foot box. So gagawa muna ng isang cubic foot na box na pangtakal para dito. So, parang ano lang, una gawa muna siya sa kahoy. So, 1 by 1 by 1. And then, yun, susukatin mo muna ilan yung laman nun. Since medyo mahirap magtimbang, magtakal gamit yun. So, tsaka mo itatransfer, let's say, yung laman, kunwari maglalagay ka ng isang, maglalagay ka ng gravel doon sa laman nung 1 by 1 by 1 cubic box. Tapos ilipat mo yon sa timba. Kaya yung ibang timba na yung ginagamit. Tsaka pansinin niyo yung mga timba hindi puno. Kasi may sukat yon. So, yung mga timba na na kulay puti. So normally yun yung ginagamit, hindi yung black. Kasi yung black na maliit, baka hindi sufficient unless sufficient siya or equivalent siya sa 1 by 1 by 1. Now yun, pagka na appropriate pagka na-calibrate mo na let's say na yung isang 1 by 1 by 1 cubic box is pag inilipat mo siya sa isang timba, ganito yung height ng timba, so mamarkahan mo or guguhitan mo, then yun na yung pwede mong gamitin pantakal for the cement and gravel. So kukuha ka let's say ng 2 timbang sand, sand, equivalent doon sa height and na ginuhitan mo sa timba. And then, ganoon din sa gravel. So, yun yung paghahaluin mo. Plus, isang bag ng semento. Plus, the reason why na kailangan mo na 1 cubic kasi ang equivalent ng 1 doon is hindi isang bag, hindi siya 1, parang 1 cubic foot of sand. 1 cubic foot of cement. Kung hindi isang bag ng semento yan. Okay. Yung iba, iba yung approach, isang bag, parang timba, pero yun, in an appropriate methodology, so dapat ganun. Okay, and then the ultimate compressive strength is 28 days. Dapat at 28 days, whatever the equivalent compressive strength of per class, na dapat na-achieve natin yan. Okay, and then ito yung per class, ito yung mga normal usage of that. So yung mga slab, beams, yan, arches, stairs, walls, so class A. And then ito naman pang filler or yung sa slab on grade natin. Pagka slab na elevate na nasa second floor, ito, class A. Kasi may specific doon. Pero yung mga nasa, let's say, nasa ground floor, ganyan, na slab on grade la. So kahit ito na. Mapapansin nyo kasi, yung composition nito, mas konting sand and gravel required para sa isang semento. Dito kasi mas madami. So ibig sabihin, hindi ganun in a way, mas marami siya na-produce na volume of concrete, pero isang bag lang ng semento kasi mas madami yung sand tsaka yung gravel. Pero again, depende siya sa application pa din. But then again, yun, yung class A for the structural members to at least. Okay? Ayan. So for the equivalent, yan. So ito yung ating, ito yung ating in PSI. Ayan siya. Then, yung mixture kapag ka cylinder or cube yung gagamitin for the specimen. Yan yung ginagamit natin pang test sa site. So, with ultimate compressive strength of 28 days. Ayan. So, concrete mixture may be classified as una, either design mixture, meaning contractor is responsible in the establishing of mixture proportion. So, ano bang ibig sabihin ng design mixture? Kunwari, nag-design tayo bilang designer. Pag sinabi natin sa contractor, kailangan namin ng 21 megapascal na concrete. So, bahala si contractor saan siya kukuha. Pwedeng mano-mano, pwedeng bibili siya sa batching plant. Then, yun yung iintindihin niya. So, walang pakialam si designer kung ano yung ilalagay. As long as mamimit yung desired compressive strength. On the other hand, pagka sinabi natin prescribed mixture, si designer yung magbibigay ng proportions of the concrete. Then hindi na mamroblema si contractor kung paano niya ipoproportion, susundin lang niya kung ano yung inilagay nung design engineer. For example, inilagay niya 124. Ayan ang pinapalagay niya sa prescribed mix ni designer. So susunod lang si contractor na 124 yung mixture. So whatever kung ano mang kalabasan ng strength. So ang ang kumbaga ang liable doon or ang mas nakakaintindi doon si prescribed si design engineer kasi nag-prescribe siya ng certain mixture for that. I hope clear yun kasi magkaiba yun kapag kung ano yung nasa plano. That's the reason why for some of you na nagpasa na, may mga sinabihan na ako sa inyo na hindi pwede yan kasi walang construction notes. Kasi normally, sa construction notes nakalagay if it is design mix or prescribed mixture, so susundin lang natin kung ano yung nandoon sa general notes. Yan. Kaya pag walang general notes, class, i-check nyo na muna bago nyo i-send sa akin. Pagka walang general notes, so hindi ko siya aaprobahan, hanap pa kayo ng ibang plano. Ayan. So, I think nasabi ko na to kanina, yung equivalent nito, etc. So, siguro next meeting, I will be discussing yung ACI method. Kasi ito, cement, sand, gravel ratio. Kasi naka-ratio siya. So, yung ACI method, merong computation kung ilang mga kilograms or volume required for every material used. Okay, ayan. Mixing of concrete. So, nasabi na natin yan. Pwedeng sa batch or sa continuous mixer or hand mix or this one. Ayan. So, nasabi na natin ito kanina. Yan. Curing period of time required for the removal of forms. So for the footings, so kapag massive yung footing, kapag malaki, so need only 1 day. Pag cantilever and slab footing, needs 5 days. So class, take note, kapag nagpapagawa kayo ng mga structure, sabihin natin kahit bahay, wag kayong papayag. For me, it's a mortal sin na sundin nyo si foreman pag sinabing, okay na po yan, engineer, buhusan na lang natin. Kunwari, ang sukat ng foundation natin is, 1 by 1. Sabihin natin, 1 by 1. Okay? Top view to, class, Siyempre, pag maghuhukay ka, hindi naman saktong 1 by 1 kasi hindi po pwede. So, kunwari, maghuhukay siya ng ganyan. Sabihin natin, on both sides, nagdagdag siya ng 150 or 15.15 mm. Or 150 mm or 0.15 meters rather. So, parang lalabas, 'di ba? This is 1.3 on both sides. Tama ba? 1.3. So, kung 1.3 na 'yan, pag sinabi ni foreman, sige, buhusan na lang po natin. Kumbaga parang lahat ito magiging concrete. Isipin mo 'yun. Yung 1 cubic, yung 1 by 1, bubusan mo siya ngayon ng 1.3 by 1.3. So, talo ka sa materials. May mga ganun kasi yung mga tinatamad. Ngayon, kailangan natin maglagay ng formworks dyan, ng forma. Kasi take note, kapag binuhusan natin ng nakadikit ang footing sa lupa, take note, ang tubig ay pwedeng mag-seep through sa lupa. Mababawasan ngayon ng water content yung concrete mo, hihina yung footing mo. Hindi nila kasi naiintindihan yun eh. So tayo naiintindihan natin yun. So dapat tama yung methodology natin. Now, so ano ngayon yung pwede natin gawin? So kailangan natin maglagay ng forma na saktong 1 by 1 para pag binuhos, sakto lang na 1 by 1 at saka hindi tayo mag-uubos um, na concrete sa hindi naman appropriate. Tsaka baka sabihin nyo sa akin, sir, gagastos din ako ng formworks, buhusan ko na lang. Pero take note class, kapag meron ka nito, hindi lang naman yung tamang sukat ng 1 by 1 yung nagagawa natin. We also resort to naiwasan natin yun nga na mag-sip yung tubig from the footing papunta sa excavated area. Then, one more thing, before we place this 1 by 1 na formworks and then whatever thickness it is, itong buo na to, bubuhusan mo siya ng lean concrete. Pakikita niyo yan sa mga plano nyo. Later, kapag diniscuss natin yung plan, may mga lean concrete or gravel bedding na usually 100 mm. So, ang purpose nun is that, doon naman nakaupo yung ating footing. So, hindi lang safe yung footing natin sa gilid kasi may formworks tayo. Kung hindi, safe din siya sa ilalim. Okay? Yung lean concrete, okay lang siyang ibuhos na nakadikit sa lupa kasi ang purpose naman nun is para pantay yung lupa na na naka-concrete na para matigas, and at the same time, walang takas yung yung tubig sa concrete natin dahil nga may lean concrete naman tayo. Okay? Yun. Then yun, for plasters and walls, so ito yung mga time of removal and then for the columns. Okay? So hindi ko na siya isa-isa, masahin nyo na lang siya. So yeah, and then ayun, shrinkage of concrete and temperature changes due to hardening and contraction from temperature changes. So nagkakaroon tayo ng crack. So ito yung isa sa mga problema ng concrete. So dahil ano siya, dahil umiinit siya naturally, plus umiinit pa siya based sa temperature, kung mainit talaga, sabihin natin sa Middle East ganyan, or kapag sa mga places na malamig. So nag-shrink. Take note, ang concrete expands kapag mainit. So I think same goes with other material. Kahit sa timber, ganun din. And it shrink kapag malamig. So para maiwasan muna natin yung yun. So kailangan nating i-monitor yung temperature. Yung ibang mga structures naglalagay ng parang coil ng heater. Sa mga malalamig na lugar, naglalagay sila ng parang coil or parang supply ng init doon sa ilalim ng concrete para ma-monitor yung temperature. Kapag sobra namang lamig, sobra namang init, yung ibang malamig na tubig yung ginagamit, and then from time to time, nabubuhos ng tubig para hindi kagad magka-crack yung concrete kasi mainit naman yung temperature. And then we also add admixture to supplement with these issues. Pero ang sa admixture naman is this one for the yung iba for the workmanship para mas fluid, lalo na yung mga concrete na binibili sa batching plant tapos ibubuhos sa matataas na mga condominium. So naglalagay sila ng admixture maliban sa 4 ingredients na cement, sand, gravel, and water. May admixture pa para viscous siya, mas madali siya makakaakyat doon sa pump. Now, kaysa tubig ang ilagay nila. And then yung iba naman, they add admixture as retarder. Retarder meaning, pag in-order mo yung concrete sa batching plant, ito normally sa batching plant to inilalagay, hindi sa mga manual mix or ginagamitan ng one bag mixer. Naglalagay sila minsan ng retarder para kapag may travel or transport, hindi kagad titigas yung concrete. So gumagamit sila ng retarder. Or pwede kapag may init na temperature, naglalagay sila nun para hindi kagad titigas yung concrete. Kasi nga pinatatagal nila yung curing or yung pagsettle ng concrete. On the other hand naman, yung accelerator natin, ilalagay naman natin kung gusto natin tumigas kaagad yung concrete. Ayan. So, ito yan, yung sinasabi ko yung accelerator, yun nga. Speed up setting time and develop earlier strength. So, para tumigas kaagad siya. Ito ginagawa sa malalamig or sa mga maulan. Usually, naglalagay ito para tumigas kaagad. Ito naman kapag mainit. Kasi ayaw mong umano agad yung concrete. Ayaw mong tumigas siya siya lang. Kasi nga, matutuyo siya or yun nga, mag-expand. And then there are air entraining agent. Okay, aside from the cement kanina na pinag-usapan natin out from ASTM C150. So there, aside from concrete na may air entraining, so meron din tayong air entraining. So minute air bubbles throughout concrete which generally increases the resistance of concrete to freezing. And then lastly, waterproofing. Ito yung naghahalo tayo ng mga waterproofing sa concrete. Usually, nilalagay natin to sa mga portions of construction parts kung saan exposed sa tubig yung yung ating wall or yung ating whatever member or yung iba sa swimming pool. Ayan. So, yun. So, naglalagay tayo ng waterproofing. So, it does not render concrete waterproof. And ano lang siya ha, decrease water absorption, okay, of the concrete or mortar. Pero yun, hindi naman siya talaga nawawala yun. Or hindi siya hindi nagiging waterproof yung concrete. Kasi kung waterproof yung concrete, edi hindi na yan magmi-mix dun sa ating material. Okay? Ayan. So, yan. So, yung plain and reinforced concrete, I think nasabi na natin to kanina a while ago na kapag ka may bakal, that is reinforced concrete. Kapag ka walang bakal, that's only plain concrete. Ayan. So, forms, we use forms for the concrete kasi yun, hindi natin mamamanage yung workability of concrete without forms kasi ano siya, formless siya. So, kailangan muna natin siyang ilagay sa forma para tumigas. The application of this, dapat naglalagay tayo ng mga used oil or ng langis or oil doon sa surface kung saan natin ibubuhos yung ating concrete. Kasi para pag tinanggal ito, formwork, so hindi siya didikit. Although there are plywoods or formworks na somewhat may coating para para hindi dumikit yung ating material. Pero pero ganun pa din, siya, kailangan pa din ng oil. Yun yung phenolic board. So ang itsura ng phenolic board is like this one. Yan, yung may coating. So kaya natin nilalagay ng oil whether a regular marine or phenolic board yung gamitin kasi nga yung concrete, 'di ba, nagbi-bleed siya ng tubig. Take note, ang timber na humihigop din 'yan or ang lumber rather humihigop din 'yan ng tubig. So somehow mababawasan niya yung paghigop kapag una may oil at may coating yung ating plywood. Okay? Para later pag tinanggal natin yung formworks like this one, so hindi siya masisira. And then there are other types of formworks na reusable, pero yung pinaka most common kasi sa atin, ordinary plywood or sometimes phenolic. Ayan. So difference of plywood and lumber. So plywood is lumber, take note. Then lumber just refers to wood, while plywood is a lumber product. Okay, that is made by gluing plies of thin pieces, sheets of wood together. So, pakita natin, ito yung difference of plywood at plyboard. Ayan. So, ano lang siya, yung plywood or plyboard, yan yung parang nagsa-sandwich ka, tapos meron siyang glue, pinagdidikit-dikit yung layers. Yung plyboard, ganito yung tsura niya, yung plywood, yung parang malaki nasa gitna. Okay, hindi ganito yung niya. Hindi ganito yung loob niya. Teka, pakita ko. Hanap pa tayo ng ibang picture. Plywood. Ito na ba yun? Plywood, plyboard. Baliktad. Ano po yun? Ito, yung parang ganito lang. Plyboard pala. Baliktad yung tag natin. Ayan. Plywood, yung may mga layers. Plyboard, ganito. Pero basically, same lang din yan. May nakadikit. Pagpalitin natin. This is, baliktad pala to. This is plyboard. Plywood. Okay? Next, ayan. Itsura ng rebar. Sa rebar, so we will discuss this further later. Kung ano yung mga rib na nakikita natin and then yung mga kulay-kulay. So let's skip this one for now, pero these are the examples of the rebars that are used sa concrete. Skipan ko muna ito kasi i-discuss natin yan na separately. Ayan. Pati itong mga bar diameter. Ayan. And other steel. I think nandun pala ata sa sorry. Listahan natin. Nandito. Sige, discuss na natin. Mabilis lang din naman. So, ayan. So, for the steel bars or rods, so meron tayong plain or deformed. Pag sinabi nating plain, walang rib. Ayan, wala yung parang mga, para to yung maliliit na ganyan. Pagka plain, as in plain lang talaga, na bakal. Parang rod lang talaga na walang rib na makikita dyan or yung log. Ayan. So, they are called billet steel bar or rail steel bars. So, billet steel bars are made by open heart furnace. So, sa furnace siya ginagawa. So, ang ginagamit natin is yung deform rebar kasi meron siya nito rib. So, it creates friction or yung pagkapit sa kanya ng concrete mas maganda kaysa sa plain. Kasi yung plain nahuhugot yan eh. Ayan. For the commercial length of the rebar, so ito yung sizes, but not limited ha. Meron pa dito mga sizes na wala dito like 36, yun, 36 and other sizes. So, pero ito yung mga common sizes. Then for the commercial length, it is measured through meters. So, naka-meters siya. 6, 7.5, 9, 10.5, and 12. Don't get confused kasi yung baka ma-encounter nyo yung sukat sa yero, okay, or yung sa bubong. So, those are measured in feet. Yung sa mga yero. Ito, rebar measured in meters. So, mahaba talaga to. Ayan. So, for the grade markings, so, makikita natin to sa mga bakal. Aside from doon sa yung kulay sa ilalim, like this one, meron yung kulay sa ilalim kasi may corresponding na strength yan. Pag pumunta ka sa hardware tapos standard yung mga bakal nila, tinanong mo kung meron ba silang mill certificate. So makikita mo doon na standard yung mga sizes nila ay yung mga grade ng bakal nila like grade 40, grade 50, etc. So yon, doon mo ma-identify din yun sa bakal nila depende sa kulay. Then, ito, yung ating designation. Ano yung point of origin, kung saan nanggaling yung bakal. That is the letter or symbol of the producing mill. Then, size designation. Ito yung mga sizes. Ito, pero yung sa atin, iba yung sizes eh. And then, steel, kung anong klase siya, kung it is a carbon steel, etc. So, iba-iba. Hindi lang isa yung rebar, madami yung klase ng steel. And then ito, yung grade. So, yun yung indicator natin dito. Okay? So, yun. And then there are other steel that are used. Kung meron tayong mga wire fabric. Para lang siyang mesh. Parang chicken wire. And then ito naman yung welded wire para siyang wavy na may pattern. So, yan yung parang weave na na fabric of steel. Then, and there are other steel, ganito naman. So, yung triangular mesh built up to either single or stranded longitudinal wires with cross wires that runs diagonally. And then lastly, yung expanded mesh. So, ganito. Ang common natin makikita sa hardware, ito. Yung iba tawag nila dito Marcel wire. Tama ba spelling ko? Tingnan natin. Marcel wire. Ayan. Ano siya eh? Teka. Hindi ganyan yung nabibili namin eh. Pero anyway, para siyang ganito. Ganito, Marcel wire. Ayun. Then, ayun, that's it. So that's the end of our lecture for today. So for our for the remaining time, so please class, please email or send me the the plans na ipapa-approve nyo. Okay? Next week dapat lahat kayo meron na kasi we will start the plate next week. Okay? If our class representative can dito can reserve a room for us, so we will be having our first quiz next meeting. So that's from 2:30 to 3:30 lang. And then after that, I will I will still be accepting kung may ipapa-check kayo. And then the discussion of the plate. So I will create a separate recording kung ano yung ipapasama ko sa plate. So basically it's just geometry lang naman on how we estimate concrete and the earthworks, or probably earthworks pala. Ano ba yung nandun sa requirement natin? Tignan nga natin. Ano bang nauna? Concrete. So unahin natin yung concrete. So ano lang naman siya, geometry lang naman yan ng structure natin. So volume lang. Pero gagawa ko na separate recording kasi pa nag-exam tayo. After that, yun, para meron kayong i-review na recording for your plate number 1. Stop ko muna recording. Any